Okay.
Bear with us. This program is layered, so we're taking one layer after the other, but it is indeed a phenomenal evening. When we look back at an 18-month journey of a whole lot of hard work by electoral officials across the country, less sleep, less of everything. So therefore tonight, the Electoral Commission of South Africa is taking a bow after an incredible work done by our officials in villages, in cities, in suburbs, in towns. Everywhere you look, you only could see IEC officials, and it's our night that we are gathered as a country to take a bow and saying to South Africa, it's done. These elections are done and dusted. I'm receiving amazing dignitaries. It's an incredible moment for our country. As we look back, I know this coverage, we've got foreign media covering this particular event. So we're not only are watched in the continent, we are watched globally. And it's a moment that we can only be proud of as a country. And it gives me absolute pleasure to receive, on behalf of the Commission, compliments to the staff of the IEC for a sterling job. Bear with me as I'm receiving delegates, as I'm receiving dignitaries one after the other. We'll be starting very shortly. I know my colleagues in the media, I can see Ranjeni there, can't wait to punch. Ranjeni, I'm going to be with you very soon. Very soon, I know your hands are hard at work. You want to go live, I'm there with you. I'm going to give you all the content your heart desires as we go live on the results of the 2016 municipal elections. Lonobo, if I was in my hometown in Soweto, in Middleland Zone 7, we could be starting a song, because that's normally what happens. And when we're waiting for other people, when we're waiting to receive dignitaries, we start a song. But I'm not saying you must start a song. I know you will sing. I don't say you must do that. If I was in Middlelands, would be starting a song as we receive dignitaries. But bear with me, just a few more seconds and minutes, we'll be starting. I'm just missing those days in Soweto where I grew up, where songs were very spontaneous, especially if we were receiving elders, and it was very exciting. A song would be in the mix, but very soon we'll be starting as I'm receiving dignitaries to this event.
Well, of course, as you can see, dignitaries taking their seats, getting ready to hear the results from the IEC Center here in, of course, Pretoria West. Just earlier, we saw, of course, Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa entering the center here. And, of course, we've seen various ministers, diplomats, and, of course, members of the civic society and various leaders from the various political parties who are also here right now. Of course, the guests are waiting for the arrival of the country's first citizen, and that is, of course, President Jacob Zuma, who is the guest of honor here, as, of course, South Africa waits to hear the final results of course, the 2016 election results. There in the audience, you can see, of course, Minister Des van Rooyen, and, of course, behind him, a whole lot of other dignitaries who are awaiting the results. And, of course, you at home as well, where you are waiting patiently to hear what exactly the final picture is. And, of course, interesting would be to find out whether the results have been completed in the big metros, especially Johannesburg, which, of course, we about an hour ago we heard that the results had not been completed in that particular metro. But, of course, let's go back to the podium and listen to what the IEC spokesperson Kate Bobella is saying.
Such a pleasure to receive you tonight. I'm Googling my colleagues. Young people are Googling. Yeah, I'm Googling my colleagues here, there and there. I'm seeing the Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Corporate Services, Mayor Rolly Smith. I see you where you're sitting. I'm trying to push my minutes. And that's the difficulty about receiving guests. That's why I'm missing my song. So every now and then I'll Google my colleagues just to check where they're sitting, where they are, as we're receiving honorable people.
Indeed, an air of expectation as our cameras and many journalists await the arrival of the IEC officials, of course, with President Jacob Zuma. Many of the dignitaries, leaders of the political parties are already here. They are seated at the front and having some slow chat with themselves. It's a very interesting situation. They're very calm, and the board here of the IEC, we expect that in a short while they will then display those results. Then it will show that it will be the declaration and the release of the official results of these 2016 elections. Many dignitaries are here. The head of the judiciary, Chief Justice Mogoeng, is one of them. We saw him earlier following the deputy president as they walked in.
Coming out of these elections, saying that we have done our very best.
And the screens currently are only showing the IEC, but I can tell you that everyone wants to see those screens change because that's where the final results will be displayed.
As I welcome to this event His Excellency President.
The President is just walking in, accompanied by the members of the Commission. You can see people are rising up and clapping to welcome the head of state. He's greeting the second-in-command deputy president there, and then they are preparing to take their seats.
Welcome to the announcements of the 2016 municipal elections.
We are very close to beginning this program now that President is here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's take you back to the podium as the events continue to unfold.
That is hosting this event to ensure that as South Africa has gone through the past 5 days in casting their ballots, the delegation that I'll be receiving is the chief host of this particular evening. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, as I receive to this event the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, together with the commissioners of the Electoral Commission. Mr. Terry Tsilani is a commissioner, Commissioner Janet Love, Judge Makanya, Commissioner Reverend Finger, as they will be joining this event to come and share with us what has the past days been like. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, as I receive to the podium Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, accompanied by his commissioners and the Chief Electoral Officer of the IEC, Mr. Mosotho Miepia. If you may please proceed. Thank you, Chairperson. On that note, let me take the reins to the Chief Electoral Officer of the IEC, Ntate Mosotho Miepia. CEO, if you may please proceed to the podium and honor the nation of South Africa on your remarks. Thank you very much.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, the Honorable Mr. Jacob Zuma, Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, the Honorable Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, the Chief Justice, Justice Mogoeng, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Directors Generals present here today, the Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, Mr. Glenn Mashinini, Vice Chairperson, Mr. Terry Tsilani, and members of the Commission, Judge Makanya, the Reverend Bongani Finga, Ms. Janet Love, former chairpersons and chief electoral officers of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, chairpersons and leaders of fellow Chapter 9 institutions, honorable leaders of political parties, excellencies and members of the diplomatic corps, members of international and domestic observer groups, the chairperson and members of the Municipal Demarcation Board, representatives of the security cluster, representatives of local government and municipal electoral officers present here tonight, representatives of civil society groups and non-governmental organizations, members of the media, fellow South Africans, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all on the occasion of the final official announcements of the results for the 2016 municipal elections. There have been many times over the past few months when some thought this day may never come. There were some days when I hoped this day would never come. And there were other days when I wondered whether and how this day would turn out and how the IEC would handle it. Today is here, and so are we. We are here today because the people of South Africa will not be denied democracy. We are here because the political parties of South Africa, despite their differences, or despite the differences they may have, and their hard-fought campaigns, ultimately respect the law, the electoral process in our country, and the will of the people in our country. And we are here because the staff and volunteers of the Electoral Commission are a remarkable group of people who will not allow any obstacle or challenge to stand in their way or in the way of our country's progression and continued success. It is a group of proud South Africans whom it has been my singular privilege to work with in preparing for and conducting the largest and most complex and competitive elections our country has yet seen. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the 2016 municipal elections are without doubt the toughest we have faced as an institution since the dawn of our democracy 22 years ago. I'm proud and pleased to say that I believe we have faced this test, and humbly, I believe we have aced it. In the lead up to these elections, we set up a few goals for ourselves. We wanted to register 1.1 million new voters for these elections. We registered 1.3 million new voters and recorded a 26.3 million on the certified segment of the voters' roll. Thank you. We wanted to make it easier and more convenient for voters to apply and participate in voting processes. And through this process, recorded 740,000 special votes applications, almost 3 times the amount of special votes we received in similar elections in 2011. We also had more of these people participating for the first time through the internet or via SMS. We wanted to make it easier for political parties and candidates to register in this election. And through this process, recorded a number of parties and candidates of a record nature that applied and participated in these elections through the online candidate nomination system that we used for the first time as a country. We wanted to exceed voter turnout levels of the previous municipal elections that we held in 2011, which were at 57.6%. In these elections, I'm pleased to indicate that we have at least attained 58%. We wanted to reduce the number of spoiled ballots from 1.89% in 2011, and we achieved it. We brought it down to 1.3%. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in each election, the Human Sciences Research Council conducts research on behalf of the Electoral Commission of South Africa on the voting experience that voters have on election day. The preliminary findings of this voter satisfaction survey, conducted at scientifically pre-selected sample of 300 voting stations on election day, showed the following. 1, 96% of voters believed the voting process to be free and fair. 2, 96% voiced general satisfaction with the quality of services rendered by electoral staff. 3, 92% indicated they trust or strongly trust the Electoral Commission. On average, voters waited just 16 minutes in the queue before voting. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, I'm not saying this election was without incident or challenge, nor that there are no areas for improvement in the future. This election, like all those before it, has provided us with a steep learning curve and many lessons for the Electoral Commission and for all other electoral stakeholders in the future. But those discussions and that introspection is not for tonight. It is for another day. Today, we can allow ourselves as South Africans a moment of satisfaction in knowing that the fundamental values of our Constitution continue to hold fast and our democracy continues to thrive and prosper. We are a nation which may appear to those beyond our borders, and indeed to ourselves on occasion, as divided and fractious. But when tested, we continue to rise to the occasion and remain proudly South African and fiercely democratic. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, I will call on the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Glenn Mashinini, to announce the results of the 2016 municipal election. These results that he will announce will, for a moment, regrettably not include those for the city of Johannesburg. Results for a number of wards in Johannesburg were still being finalized and going through the rigorous audit process that we at the IEC put them through. They will soon be concluded and publicized as well. Fortunately, these being municipal elections, we can still announce all other results. So, allow me to invite the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, Mr. Glenn Mashinini. And from me, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Msutu Miepa. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Jacob Zuma. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, the Honorable Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. the Chief Justice of our Constitutional Court, the Honorable Justice Mogoeng, the Minister of Home Affairs, Minister Malusi Kikaba, the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, the Honorable Mr. Des van Rooyen, the Deputy Ministers of COCTA, the Honorable Obed Papela and Andrew Snell, and fellow ministers, all represented here today, some who are members of the cluster that has been responsible in delivery of the elections. And may I also greet the fellow commissioners, starting with the Vice Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Terry Zelane, and fellow Commissioner Judge Makanya, and Reverend Bongani Finga, as well as Ms. Janet Love. Former chairpersons of the Electoral Commission present here, Dr. Brigale Bam and Justice Krechler, and fellow former chairpersons, commissioners of the Electoral Commission and senior executives, honorable leaders of political parties and independents present among us, and your excellencies, high commissioners, ambassadors, and members of the diplomatic corps who have graced this occasion, and all members of national, provincial, and local party liaison committees, members of the international and domestic observers, members of various municipal authorities represented here, the chairperson of the Municipal Demarcation Board, and representatives and leaders of the security cluster present here, members and of the Electoral Commission Executive Committee, as well as all the provincial electoral officers present here, as well as the staff members of the Electoral Commission, both the full-time staff members and all those South African citizens who work tirelessly to deliver the elections, almost 200,000 throughout the voting stations. Representatives of the civil society and non-government organizations, faith-based organizations, and traditional leaders who collaborated as partners in assisting the Electoral Commission in carrying out this national responsibility. We can't also forget our members of the Fourth Estate, the members of the media, fellow South Africans, honored guests, and ladies and gentlemen. When we launched the municipal elections 2016 in January this year, I said these elections would be a litmus test for both the Electoral Commission of South Africa and South Africa. And at that time, many questions, and correctly so, because we are a democracy, were being asked about the integrity of the Electoral Commission, the electoral processes and the systems, as well as, indeed, the willingness and the ability of South Africa as a whole to remain true to its democratic ideals and values as enshrined in our Constitution. I ended that launch speech with the following appeal to all partners in the democratic process that on election day, I quote, "Our country should be proud to proclaim to the world that we are still flying high the banner of electoral democracy, excellence, and free and fair elections. Further, we as a country send a resounding message to the world at large that we South Africans remain a beacon of preeminence in the conduct of electoral democracy," of quote. Mr. President and fellow South Africans, I am proud to say that every stakeholder in our country responded positively to this clarion call. And we have indeed sent a message to our own people and to the world that South Africa is a thriving democracy, it's vibrant and a maturing democracy. And if I may take the chance and say, I hope the Minister of Finance has noticed our impact on the rand. So when we're coming for a budget assistance, he will understand that indeed the Commission has made its part in improving our currency. Distinguished guests, when it comes to the municipal election, the results are determined for each municipality at local level in terms of Section 64(1)(b) of the Municipal Electoral Act. The role of the Commission is to satisfy itself that the conditions for free and fair elections were met in all these municipalities, and in so doing, to certify these results. Among the factors which the Commission must consider in declaring an election free and fair is firstly whether the electoral regulations, laws, and agreed processes were followed. Secondly, where irregularities and breaches did occur, what impact this had on the outcome of the election. I am pleased to announce that the Electoral Commission represented here has satisfied itself that the conditions for free and fair elections were met and that the results for 212 councils are certified, and they didn't slip as you see them here. They have received so many complaints and they've processed all of them right through the night. And I'd like to thank them for that. And they have some stories to tell about that. In addition, the Electoral Commission, in considering objection, has also had to refer a matter to the Electoral Court, which may lead to a revote in 6 wards in Stellenbosch. And the results of the city of Johannesburg are still being finalized, which we anticipate occurring within the next few hours. As you all know, the municipal election in South Africa are a combination of ward and proportional representation voting system. These results are combined to calculate the final seat allocation towards councillors and PR councillors. In local municipalities, the voters also voted for 40% of the councillors to serve in the 44 district municipalities, district councils. However, the final process of electing the district councils can only be finalized once the local councils have been established and have elected members to these district councils. For this reason, I'm also not going to include district council results in my presentation tonight. Distinguished guests, Time and your attention spent does not allow me to announce the results for all municipal councils this evening, but they are available online to anybody throughout the country or any part of the world. Instead, permit me to provide the country with a national overview of the outcome of the elections, followed by a brief look at the results in 7 of our 8 metros. Excluding the district council seats, there were 9,301 council seats up for grabs in this election. Of these, the African National Congress won 5,080 seats. The Democratic Alliance won 1,723 seats. The Economic Freedom Fighters won 731 seats. Inkatha Freedom Party won 427 seats. The Frey 8 Plus won 66 seats. The United Democratic Movement won 58 seats. The African Independent Congress won 51 seats. The Congress of the People won 44 seats. The Forum for Service Delivery won 27 seats. The independent candidates won 26 seats. Other political parties won the remaining 225 seats, which represents 2% of the total allocation. And in terms of the 213 municipalities contested, the African National Congress achieved a majority in 161 municipalities, and the Democratic Alliance achieved a majority in 19 municipalities, and Inkatha Freedom Party achieved a majority in 6 municipalities. In 26 municipalities, no party achieved a majority, and these are known as hung councils. Let us now look briefly at the outcome of the elections in the metros. In the Eastern Cape, in Buffalo City, the African National Congress won 60 seats. The Democratic Alliance won 24 seats. The Economic Freedom Fighters won 8 seats. The African Independent Congress won 4 seats. And 1 seat each went to the following parties: the African Christian Democratic Party, the Congress of the People, the Pan-African Congress of Azania, and the United Democratic Movement. And then in Nelson Mandela Bay, the Democratic Alliance won 57 seats, the African National Congress won 50 seats, the Economic Freedom Fighters won 6 seats, and United Democratic Movement won 2 seats. And 1 seat each went to the following parties: the African Christian Democratic Party, the African Independent Congress, the Congress of the People, the Patriotic Alliance, and the United Front of Eastern Cape. In the Free State, in Mangaung, the African National Congress won 58 seats, the Democratic Alliance won 27 seats, Economic Freedom Fighters won 9 seats, the African Independent Congress won 2 seats, Frey 8 Front Plus won 2 seats, the Agency for a New Agenda won 1 seat, and Congress of the People won 1 seat. In Gauteng, the African National Congress won 109 seats, the Democratic Alliance won 77 seats, the Economic Freedom Fighters won 25 seats, the African Independent Congress won 4 seats, and Inkatha Freedom Party and Frey 8 Front Plus won 2 seats each. And 1 seat each won by the African Christian Democratic Party, Congress of the People, Independent Ratepayers Association, the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, and the Patriotic Alliance. In Tshwane, the Democratic Alliance won 93 seats, the African National Congress won 89 seats, the Economic Freedom Fighters won 25 seats, and Frey 8 Plus won 4 seats. and 1 seat each went to the following parties: the African Christian Democratic Party, the Congress of the People, and the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. As I noted earlier, these results for the city of Johannesburg, as we're speaking, are still being finalized. But I can give you a preliminary overview of support for the leading parties with the 99% of the voting districts completed. As it stands, the African National Congress has received 43.38% of the votes. The Democratic Alliance has received 39.66%. The Economic Freedom Fighters has received 10.96%. Inkatha Freedom Party has received 1.77%. The African Independent Congress has received 1.47%. And in KwaZulu-Natal, eThekwini, the African National Congress won 126 seats. The Democratic Alliance won 61 seats. Inkatha Freedom Party won 10 seats. The Economic Freedom Fighters won 8 seats. The African Independent Congress won 3 seats. And 1 seat each went to African Christian Democratic Party, the African People Convention, Al-Jamaa, the Democratic Liberal Congress, Minorities of South Africa, the Minority Front, and the Truly Alliance. In Western Cape, in the city of Cape Town, the Democratic Alliance won 154 seats. The African National Congress won 57 seats. The Economic Freedom Fighters won 7 seats. The African Christian Democratic Party won 3 seats. Al-Jamaa won 2 seats, and 1 seat each went to the African Independent Congress, the Cape Muslim Congress, the Congress of the People, the Democratic Independent Party, the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the Patriotic Alliance, the United Democratic Movement, and Vryheid Front Plus. In conclusion, distinguished guests, and our slogan for these elections was that the future is in your hands. It was a message we sent to the voters of South Africa. Those voters have now spoken, and their will has now been recorded, and they have made their choice. They have sent a message of the future they want in their villages, in their towns, in their cities, and in their metros. Their responsibility to deliver on this promised future now passes on to the 9,301 councillors who have been elected in this election. Our future is now in your hands. Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished guests, and fellow South Africans, it is now my great privilege on behalf of the Electoral Commission to declare the 2016 municipal elections free and fair. And I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to invite the President of the Republic of South Africa to the podium.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Please be seated. Chairperson of the IEC and commissioners, leaders of the political parties, the Deputy President of the ANC of the country, I would also like to recognize the Chief Justice and the entire judiciary of our country. Fellow South Africans, we have concluded yet another round of competently run and successful elections. This is a testament to the progress we are making as a people and also to the maturity of our democracy. I wish to extend a word of gratitude to the millions of South Africans who went out to vote, some under difficult weather conditions. Let me also extend our collective gratitude to the commissioners and staff of the Independent Electoral Commission. The commissioners and IEC staff worked long hours and delivered an efficient and fair elections yet again. These elections were hotly contested, with competing parties passionately arguing their points of view in attempts to win the favor of the electorate. That is how it should be in a democracy. We congratulate the people too on the outcome, as they are the real victors. Their will must prevail. I also wish to thank the political parties, independent candidates, and their supporters for contributing to a largely peaceful, free, and fair elections. You have shown the world that South Africa is a thriving democracy where differences of political opinion and diverse political preferences are allowed to flourish. Political parties waged their campaigns under different political banners. However, we are now one people. In this regard, the elected representatives must govern on behalf of and in the best interests of all South Africans. They must build an accessible, caring, and efficient local government system throughout the country, regardless of which party controls the municipality. This election has given all political parties and candidates an opportunity to interact with South Africans across the country. The concerns that have been raised by the electorate during the elections must be attended to by all so that our people can experience the fruits of freedom and democracy. We urge our people to remain engaged by participating in ward committees and other structures and be part of the running of their municipalities. In this way, there will be no gap between the people and the municipal government. That is how strong democracies are built, when the people participate. We are proud of our people. We are proud of how South Africans managed their renewal of mandates and also the change of governments. It is done peacefully through the ballot box. Our democracy is maturing, and we congratulate our people for their participation in the consolidation of democracy. I'm convinced that if we work together and harder, we will achieve our dream of building a just, fair, equal, and prosperous South Africa. It is possible. Let us get back to work and build our country together. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Program Director. We want to apologize to the President for the disruption that just happened. This took us by surprise, and we really, really want to apologize to all of you. Can I request Kate to make sure that members of the media do not exacerbate the situation? Can you please? Thank you very much. I also want to appeal to the security personnel to treat the situation with sensitivity. As I was saying, thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, the Honorable Mr. Jacob Zuma, the Chief Justice, Justice Mogoeng, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Chairpersons of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Glenn Mashinini, Commissioner Love, Commissioner Makanya, Judge Makanya, and Commissioner Efing. The honorable leaders of political parties present here today, chairpersons, and CEOs of fellow Chapter 9 institutions. High commissioners, ambassadors, and other members of the diplomatic corps, members of the international domestic observer groups, representatives of faith-based organizations, and other civil society groups, the staff and leadership of the Electoral Commission, members of the media, guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. The Electoral Commission is mandated by the Constitution to organize, manage, and deliver the elections. Again, the Commission is required in terms of the Constitution to ensure that those elections are free and fair. And we're also required as the Commission to declare the results thereof. We have once again risen to the occasion and are here tonight to certify the results for the 2016 municipal elections within 3 days of the elections. But none of this would be possible without the collaboration and support of many of our partners. As we always say, the electoral process is a joint responsibility. It's a joint responsibility between ourselves and various stakeholders. On behalf of the Electoral Commission, I would like to express our gratitude and pay tribute to all the stakeholders for the vital role they played in this journey. This has been a long, winding, meandering road full of potholes. Your Excellency, Mr. President, on behalf of the Electoral Commission, allow me to thank you for your support and the support of all various ministers and government departments that played a key supportive role in our electoral process. In particular, I want to thank Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Mr. Desvan Rooyen, and his Deputy Ministers, the Honorable Mr. Obed Bapela and the Honorable Mr. Andries Nel, for their constant support and collaboration. We want to express our gratitude to all of them. Distinguished guests, the Department of Home Affairs is another key stakeholder that has ensured currency of our voters' roll. The Commission uses its National Population Register to maintain an up-to-date voters' roll. We are perpetually grateful to you, Minister of Home Affairs, the Honorable Mr. Malusi Kigaba, and your Director General, Mr. Mkhuzeli Apleni. The Security Cluster and the Interministerial Committee for Elections under the chairpersonship of Honorable Minister Desvan Rooyen provided key interface for the Electoral Commission into the key state structures which are vital for the security of our election. We are especially thankful for the cooperation and support of the South African Police Services, the South African National Defence Force, and the National Intelligence Agency, working through net joints and prof joints. We went into these elections anxious and concerned about pockets of instability and violence that were being experienced in certain parts of our country. The security forces provided enormous support to the Electoral Commission, not only during registration process, but also during voting. You played an important role in ensuring that the environment within which these elections took place was conducive to free and fair elections. The Metro Police and the traffic authorities throughout the country assisted us greatly by ensuring our election materials, including ballot papers, could reach our voting station safely. A ballot paper, as I always say, is the most precious commodity in the hands of any election management body. We are grateful that you assisted us, and in instances where there was a need for intervention, you acted swiftly. We are grateful for the support and work of non-profit organizations, religious and faith-based organizations, traditional leaders, and many other civil society organizations that work with us to ensure conditions conducive to free and fair elections. A special word of thanks to the National Coordinating Forum and its members. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many people in our society who labor under misapprehension that the intervention of the judiciary in electoral processes demonstrates irregularities in our processes. The judiciary is there to assist in the interpretation and application of law. At times, it points out to us and the legislature where further consideration of legislation would be wise. We would like to express our thanks and gratitude to the Chief Justice, Justice Mogoeng, the Constitutional Court, and the Electoral Court, and its chairperson, Justice Jeremiah Shongwe, for the attention given to issues ahead of these elections, which have allowed us to resolve issues rapidly. It is no exaggeration to say that were it not for the wisdom of the Constitutional Court in finding a solution to Section 16.3 challenge we faced ahead of these elections, it would have been difficult to manage this process. Justice Mogoeng, the Electoral Commission wishes to express its gratitude to you and other justices of the Constitutional Court for finding an extraordinary solution to the challenge we face with regards to the voters ahead of these elections. Justice Mogoeng, even though we like all of you so much, we would prefer not to see you in court anytime soon. We are also grateful for the participation of observer groups in this election. Observers play an important role in a creation of an environment conducive to free and fair elections. The fact that you took part in this process played a crucial role in safeguarding the integrity of our process. We will go through their reports and identify learning points that we can use in our preparation for 2019 national and provincial elections. During the 2016 municipal elections, we had more than 60 domestic organizations and 3 international observer missions, which included the Electoral Commission's Forum of SADC countries. Ladies and gentlemen, central to the success of any election are the political parties and candidates, of which we had a record number in this election. The Party Liaison Committee at national, provincial, and local level continues to serve our electoral democracy well as a forum for exchange of information and as a clearinghouse for the key issues before they become contentious. Members of the Party Liaison Committee played an important role when we dealt with Section 65 objections. Section 65 objections are regarded as objections material to the outcome of the results of the election. All these commissioners did not sleep because we are required in law to make sure that we consider all Section 65 objections before we can announce the results of the elections. At around 1:30 this morning, I was woken up by 2 of the commissioners who were working extremely hard considering all the objections. We had close to 100 objections this time around, and it was important for us to go through all these objections before we could announce the results of the election. The Electoral Commission is grateful to all of the political parties and their leaders for all the cooperation and support that we always enjoy from you. Program Director, allow me to thank service providers and partners in the private sector that assist us in running these elections. I want to particularly thank our key sponsors for this election, Telkom and Ascension. Efficient and effective communication lie at the heart of any election, and were it not for the communication and IT infrastructure they help us with, would not have been able to produce and announce the results within 48 hours after voting. We are indebted to ESCOM for its support and constant presence here at the Rock. Your being here gave us comfort that in case of any emergency, you would be able to intervene immediately. We also continue to enjoy a close relationship with South Africa, with SABC, in conducting voter and civic education. You were an anchor in communicating and disseminating information throughout our country. Then, to the staff of the Electoral Commission, I would like to offer our deepest gratitude as the Commission for the extraordinary lengths to which you are willing to go to make sure every election is run with integrity and is regarded as free and fair. You remain the Electoral Commission's greatest asset and the foundation on which we build our success. Thank you very much for your passion, your commitment, and your never say die attitude, no matter how much pressure is applied on you. You are indeed a credit to South Africa. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, our most humble thanks to the voters, the South Africans who ultimately make our democracy work. More than 15 million voters came out in a freezing weather to support our democracy this week. We are humbled and deeply grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm well aware that Nelson Mandela has been a contested character during these elections. But allow me to conclude by quoting this great South African. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. But I've discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I've taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, leadership of the IEC. It was indeed a phenomenal elections. We have come up to the official proceedings of this program. If I may request everyone to stand up as we sing the national anthem before we officially close this program. Thank you very much. allow me to release the dignitaries from this event. If I may request Dr. Masuku, if you may assist me in leading the president out of this event. Followed by the commissioners, if you may please step down into the floor. Thank you so much. As the dignitaries are leaving the event, may I please have IEC usherers ladies and gentlemen, may I please request you to stay where you are so that we can release you by blocks. Our event is oversubscribed. We just want to make sure that everyone comfortably leaves the venue. We are going to leave into the top of the stairs to the dinner event. And as we do that, I've got, can I please have 3 usherers here that can lead this group of dignitaries that are sitting here to please proceed to the dinner event. Afterwards, the block on their right will proceed. We are going to go through up the stairs. It's not a very, we need to go out by portions. We can't all leave at the same time. Otherwise, we are going to create blockage. May I please request the rest of the guests to sit down as I allow this block to be escorted into the dinner venue. May I please have assurance? May I please request all the guests sitting here to go up the stairs? They'll be led. I've got 2 young people here that will lead you up to the dinner venue. May I please have all the guests sitting here to go up so that we're able to allow the rest of the guests to proceed. May I please have the guests to proceed to the dinner venue?
Here at the IEC Center, of course, who have just heard the IEC officials announcing the 26